Welcome back, everyone. Today we will discuss data gathering. It's one of the most useful topic in computer science. So, as always, we will not discuss this if it's not gonna help us in our everyday life. So, we shall begin. Introduction. Data is everywhere. Indeed, it is common to hear people say that we are drowning in data because there is so much of it. So, what is data? Data can be numbers, words, measurements, descriptions, comments, photos, sketches, films, videos, or almost anything that is useful for understanding a particular design, stakeholder stakeholders' goals, and people's behavior. Data can be quantitative or qualitative. For example, the time it takes someone to find information on a web page and the number of clicks to get to the information are forms of quantitative data. What someone says about the web page is a form of qualitative data, but what does it mean to collect this and other kinds of data? What techniques can be used and how useful and reliable is the data that is collected? So, the number of clicks on a web page is considered quantitative data. What does it mean to collect those data? We will discuss this in this chapter. Within the requirements activity, data gathering is conducted to collect enough information so that design can proceed. Within evaluation, data gathering captures participants' reactions and their performance with a system or prototype. Techniques for managing huge amount of data, such as those for scraping large volumes of data from online activities like Twitter posts, and the implications of their use are discussed in Chapter 10, Data at Scale. So we will discuss that in the next video. Interviews are usually synchronous and are often face-to-face, but they can be conducted asynchronously, like via email or chat, and are commonly conducted remotely. Questionnaires are a series of questions designed to be answered asynchronously, that is, without the presence of investigator. So, interviews are form of or way of getting a data and a questionnaire as well. The difference is that for interviews, it often require face to face, and it is asynchronous, meaning that the participant the needs to like speak asynchronously with the interviewer. And for questionnaires, it doesn't the interviewer doesn't need to be there. It just need to send you the questionnaire. These questionnaires may be online or paper based. Observation may be direct or indirect. Direct observation involves observing participant activities as they happen. Indirect observation involves making a record of the participant's activity as it happens, to be studied at a later date. So, observation, this is another uh, way to get information. It could be observing the participants in the wild or on the job. So imagine you're on the job with your um, future colleagues, so you're new in a job. To be able to learn the job quickly, sometimes you need to, or most often, you need to have this direct observation on how they actually do the job. So that's another way to think about this direct observation. Indirect observation involves making a record of the participant activity as it happens, to be studied at a later date. All three techniques may be used to collect qualitative or quantitative data. So for interviews, questionnaire, and observation, the data that we will get there could be distinguished via qualitative or quantitative data. Although this is a small set of basic techniques, they are flexible and can be combined and extended in many ways. Indeed, it is important not to focus on just one data gathering technique, if possible, but to use them in combination so as to avoid biases that are inherent in any one approach. So these data gathering techniques are usually combined to avoid bias. So later we will explain why we need that. So there's actually a theory behind why we need to do those to reduce the bias. Now, 6 key issues when gathering data, setting goals. Again, it went back to the cognitive frameworks of attention that half of the battle, or like approximately half of the battle, is done if you have a clear goals. The main reason for gathering data is to glean information about people, their behavior, or their reaction to technology. Examples include understanding how technology fits into family life, identifying which of two icons representing upload file is easier to understand, and finding out whether the planned redesign for a smart meter is more memorable than previous design. So the main thing about this is observing or knowing exactly what people want. So the key here is this example. So how do you know if people wants this type of icon other than this? Of course, you need data. You need qualitative and quantitative data, and as well as you need to iterate, right? You need to set clear goals. Otherwise, you will be drowned in this big data. So these goals may be expressed more or less formally. For example, in online experiments such as A/B testing, mathematically expressed metrics usually underpin the experiment's goals. To evaluate two or more design alternatives, combining several metrics into one evaluation criterion is complex, as discussed by Ron Kohavi in 2020. So several metric values may form the basis of the goal. For example, the formula in figure 8.1 is one of the organizational metrics used for monitoring performance of Bing search engine. So here is an example of a goals, a metrics. So again, based on cognitive frameworks, we need to activate the planning here. So we need to consider multiple factors. We need to look back on the past, on data that's already there, and then prioritize on the things that's most important for us to achieve our goal or the task that we want. But at the same time, being able to freely adapt or flexible in case something happens. Whatever the format, goals for data gathering should be sufficiently well defined so that it is clear when the goal has been met. How to recognize when a goal has been met will vary according to the techniques used. So the degree that you are able to resolve or to accomplish your goal depends on the techniques of data that you use. Later we will discuss how data gathering, the way you gather data, actually influence how it was presented or analyzed. So the effectiveness of your solution depends on the data that you collected.